All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? We're back with the January 9th 10-game NHL breakdown on this Tuesday here. If you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton here. If you are not a member yet, head over to shipitnation.com. Click on join now and get in the best community in the industry to have all the tools, content projections that you need to have success with DFS. Without further ado, you know how these quick hits roll. Going to run through some of my favorite stacks, some of my favorite value plays, favorite goalies. As always, all my final content, slate plan, core plays, and matchup sheet will be live for SHIPIT Nation subscribers very shortly after this show. Let's jump right in, talking some favorite stacks. I'm going to talk with the two chalk stacks of the night here off the top here overall. We're going to start with Toronto here at home against the Sharks. You know how the deal is. Sharks are one of the best targets all season long. Terms of DFS, they're 9-31 on the season here. Toronto has been good. Toronto now gets them at home here. Minus 450 favorites here in this one. 6.5 is the total. Highest implied team total on the slate. Good reason. Obviously, all these guys firmly in play for me. My favorite is actually going to be the second line here. William Nylander, 8.7K is expensive, but he's been absolutely on a tear, averaging over 21 fantasy points per game over the last 5. His last 3 games, 29, 20, and 36. Now gets a matchup here against the Sharks, second line, top power play. I really like the second line, Bertuzzi, Tavares, Nylander. I think they're a little bit under-owned compared to that top line of Matthews, Knees, and Marner. Matthew Knees, going to be a great value play on this slate, skating next to Mitchell Marner and Austin Matthews, but really like the second line, Tavares, Bertuzzi, and Nylander overall. Want to get a little bit different. Cale Jarncrow, 3.6K, good value play, skate next to Max Domi and Holmberg here overall, but really love Toronto here. Great spot for Toronto. Let's talk about another Edmonton chalk slate here tonight. Edmonton on the road against Chicago here. Minus 450 favorites as well. 6.5 is the total in this one as well. Second highest implied team total on the slate behind Toronto here. Zach Hyman, absolutely on fire right now. 34 and 47 DraftKings points in his last 2 games. He's averaging right around 25 DraftKings points per game over the last 5. He's a great play at 8K flat here. Gets a good matchup against Chicago. Obviously, McDavid. I prefer McDavid over Austin Matthews at the discount here. McDavid's been better here. Probably going to become pretty similar owned as well. So give me McDavid over Austin Matthews here tonight. Really like this top line for Edmonton, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and McDavid. If you want a little bit of a value line, Leon Draisaitl, Mick Leod, and Warren Foegele. That second line, he's got 2 cheap line mates. Draisaitl is expensive. Still get exposure to McDavid and Hyman and Nugent Hopkins on that top power play when you play a guy like Draisaitl because he is on that top power play. I think that's interesting here. So obviously Edmonton, great plays. I think I prefer Edmonton here a little bit over Toronto, but both of them very good spots overall, very good. And both of them are going to be very chalky here tonight. Obviously 2 massive favorites overall. Let's talk about some other teams that I have interest in here that should be a little bit under-owned compared to the Toronto and Edmonton pieces. We're going to start with Florida here. Florida on the road against the Blues. Really like this spot for Florida. Sam Reinhart on a tear right now. Love him. Evan Rodriguez, Alexander Barkov. You can go right back to the well with that second or that top line. But again, I really like this second line. Matthew Tkachuk is coming around. Had 2 back-to-back great games. Florida has won 7 straight. And now they get a matchup here against St. Louis, who's very leaky on home ice here. I love Florida here in this spot. I think they're going to be under-owned. Give me this Verhaeghe, Sammy Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk line, and even this top line in Rodriguez, Barkov, and Reinhart. Really love Florida here tonight in GPPs. Probably one of my favorite stacks of the evening. Really like them. Vancouver did the job for us last night. I like jumping right back on the well here against Vancouver. Vancouver won us all the money against the Rangers. I talked about it right here on this quick hit. I said Vancouver's going to win the game. I like Vancouver offense. I like Vancouver offense here again tonight. Back-to-back road wins where they scored 6 goals apiece. Now get these Islanders who are pretty leaky on home ice overall. Give me Vancouver here, Canucks again against these Islanders. Islanders allow the most high danger chances in the entire NHL on home ice here. Going right back to the well. Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, Brock Besser. This line is on fire right now. Going to continue to ride the wave. And then if you want a second line that's very cheap, I was on the second line last night, just had the wrong pieces. Obviously, Colorado and Vancouver were both needed last night. My top 2 stacks that I talked about on this show in general, it was all over our content. We had members ship almost every contest on DraftKings last night. I was on line 2 last night. Obviously, you needed line 1. I was on Colorado line 1, Vancouver line 2. You needed Vancouver line 1, Colorado line 2. Our members figured that out. But going right back to the well here, Pius Suter, Mikheyev, and Kuzmenko is a very cheap line stack here against the Islanders, who are very leaky on home ice. So love Vancouver here again in the spot. Great matchup. I don't really worry about the back-to-back too much here. They're clicking well right now, playing great on the road, and I like it to continue here tonight. Let's talk about another team here, late night hammer stack. Plus 130 home dog here in this spot. I like Arizona in this matchup against the Bruins. I talked about it. Bruins are leaky on the road here. Bruins are also coming off a back-to-back here with travel. Going into Arizona, give me Arizona in this squad. Dylan Guenther is a nice value play at 3K flat. He's returned, played pretty good, scored a goal against Winnipeg. But I like Arizona in this spot. Lawson Cross, Cooley, Bukestad is a good stack. But give me this top line, Kerfoot, Nick Schmaltz, Clayton Keller. They haven't been great, but I do think they win the game here. Late night hammer, they got fair price points. Clayton Keller, sub 6K. That's a good price point overall on him. Arizona is just very cheap for their upside here. Nick Schmaltz is playing pretty good right now. 4.9K top line, top power play. 4.1K for Alex Kerfoot, top line, top power play. Overall, Boston's pretty leaky on the road. Give me Arizona in this spot as a late night hammer. Secondary value stack to round out some of those other top end teams like your Torontos, like your like your Edmontons, and like your Florida squads, Vancouver, that I like as well. So I like Arizona. I think they fit nice as a secondary stack here overall. Talking about another team here, Calgary on the Calgary at home against the Ottawa Senators here. Another late night hammer spot here. Flames are favored, minus 130, 6.5 is the total here. Ottawa's leaky on the road, especially on the power play. Calgary's power play isn't great on home ice here, but I do like going to guys like Nazem Kadri here, Elias Lindholm, Igor Sharangovich is cheap or is in that mid tier. He's playing good, so I don't hate that. Connor Zary, 3.5 or 3.4K, is a nice mid-tier value play. Sub 4K, they're getting top power play time. So give me this top power play here for Calgary against Ottawa. Rasmus Anderson, Kadri, Lindholm, Sharangovich, and Zary, Connor Zary. And then you can get guys like Blake Coleman, right, who's been playing great this season. I don't hate him. Mikhail Backlund, he's been playing great. That third line, they both correlate there and on the power play as well. Jonathan Huberdeau at 4.1K, he's a nice play overall. He's a nice value play. He's going to play 17 to 18 minutes. So I do like Calgary quite a bit as well here tonight. And then the last team I'll talk about is Winnipeg. There's a lot of great spots tonight, so you have to pick and choose your spots. But Winnipeg here, I think this is a good spot for Winnipeg overall. I mean, they are at home against Columbus. Probably going to get some ownership in this spot, but for a good reason. They're minus 240 favorites, so a little bit of a step below your Torontos, your Edmontons. So could see a little bit of ownership discount and similar upside in this spot. Nico Ehlers, my favorite play by far on Winnipeg, 6.7K. Great play. He's averaging over 4 shots on goal per game over the last 5. Josh Morrissey is a spend-up D-man. Always in play against Columbus. D-men are great matchup against Columbus. Nino Niederreiter, 4.7K, third line, second power play. I think he's a fine guy. Gabe Vilardi, 6K flat. I like him and Ehlers combination a lot. Both of them correlate together on the power play as well. You can definitely throw in a guy like Mark Scheifele at 7.1K. Gets the best matchup on the slate. Centers versus Columbus. Columbus ranks 32nd in the league against center. So Winnipeg, great spot as well. Obviously, I talked through 7 stacks that you can go to here tonight. The 2 chalk, Toronto, Edmonton are going to be chalky. Winnipeg's probably going to be right there in third. So I really like Florida. I like Vancouver, like Calgary, like Arizona, some of these other teams to middle that ownership. But with so many good spots, ownership's going to spread here tonight. Don't worry about it too much. Those are some of the teams that I'm looking at here tonight. Let's jump into some value plays, starting with the center position. First value center I'm going to bring up is Pius Suter. Talked about like in Vancouver here. I like going right back to the well with Vancouver line 2 here. They've been playing good. Pius Suter getting 15 to 16 minutes here, averaging over almost 3 shots per game over the last 5. He's 3.4K. So I do like Pius Suter in this matchup. Talked about like in Florida. Talked about like in Florida second line, but you can definitely look at this third line as well. Anton Lundell at 3K flat. He's averaging almost 2.5 shots on goal per game over the last 5 in a matchup against St. Louis. I think he's a fine value play. Alex Wenberg's playing great hockey right now for Seattle. 3.1K gets a matchup against Buffalo here on the road. Second line, top power play. Alex Wenberg, 3.1K is a nice value. And then the last guy I will talk about is name striker Vladislav Namestnikov here for Winnipeg, 3.8K. Second line, second power play, 15 to 16 minutes in a matchup against Columbus, who ranks 32nd in the league against centers. I think he's a fine value option on this slate. Looking at some value wings here. First value wing is going to be one of the chalkiest teams of the slate, Warren Fogle for Edmonton. Skating next to Leon Draisaitl and McLeod here, 4K flat. He's averaging over 3 shots on goal per game over the last 5. I think he's a fine value play at 4K flat. Going back to the other chalk team, Cale Jarnkrok for Toronto. Gets a matchup here at home, third liner, second power play. Don't mind going to this third line for Toronto. He will be sub 5% owned, 3.6K in a very good matchup here against San Jose. He's averaging over 3 shots on goal per game over the last 5. So I do like Cale Jarnkrok here in this matchup. Another value guy, I already talked about him, talked about Arizona. He's getting top power play time. Dylan Guenther, 3K flat against Boston. Boston's pretty leaky on the road. They're also on a back-to-back. So I don't mind Dylan Guenther here. And then the last guy for Vancouver, Andrei Kuzmenko, 3.7K, second liner, top power play. He's been bad, but I do think this is a pretty solid matchup overall for him. He's still getting top power play time. His price point is still fair, so I don't hate a guy like Andrei Kuzmenko here to round out some value wings you can look at. Jumping into some value D-men on the slate. First guy, Tyler Myers for Vancouver here, 3.4K. He's going to play close to 20 minutes. He's going to block shots. He's involved. Playing good right now. He's averaging over 10 DraftKings points per game over the last 5, 3.4K. I think he's a fine value option. Another value D-man, Nikita Zaitsev here for Chicago. Should see a ton of shot block upside against Edmonton. Obviously, he's played great the last 4 games, 11, 7, 13, 15 here. He's had 5 blocks, 3 blocks, 5 blocks, and then last game against Calgary, picked up a goal and an assist. Should see a ton of block upside here when Edmonton's firing the puck, so I don't hate Nikita Zaitsev here at 3.3K. I think he's fine. Going back to Florida, Aaron Ekblad here, second line, or top line, second power play, excuse me. Skating next to Gustav Forsling, 3.8K here in a matchup against St. Louis where I like Florida. He's playing over 21 minutes as well, so I really like Aaron Ekblad here. And then the last guy, Timothy Liljegren here for Toronto. Gets the best matchup on the slate. D-men against San Jose, 3.8K for him, playing over 20 minutes. I do like Timothy Liljegren quite a bit here in this spot. Let's talk some favorite goalies that you can look at on this slate. Connor Hellebuyck, probably going to be one of the chalkiest goalies on the slate. I think he's fine at 8.3K. You can argue he could be 8.5, 8.6, so you're getting a little bit of a discount there. He is at home against Columbus, one of the heaviest favorites on the slate. Connor Hellebuyck, great play on this slate. Cam Talbot at 7.5K, I think is fine in that mid-tier. Gets a matchup against Tampa Bay here in Tampa Bay. Kings could definitely win this game here overall. Kings have been very, very good defensively on the road. So Cam Talbot at 7.5K could go into Tampa and steal a win, and that'd be nice for GPPs at that price point. So I do like Cam Talbot at 7.5K overall. Sergei Bobrovsky, 8.1K. Talked about like in Florida. Definitely have interest in Bobrovsky at 8.1K in this spot. And then another cheaper goalie here is Joey Decord, 7.6K. He's been playing out of his mind. Seattle, he's won 5 straight games against very good teams like Vegas, where he shut out. He beat Ottawa 4-1, and he went into LA and beat the Kings, where he had 42 saves and a win. 7.6K for Joey Decord for Seattle. Now gets a matchup against Buffalo. I think he is a fine mid-tier value goalie as well on the slate. That's going to do it for this 10-gamer. As always, all my final content, slate plan, core plays will be live for SHIPIT Nation subscribers. Head over to SHIPITNation.com. Click on Join Now, and you can get access to all of that. If not, just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. But good luck tonight in your contest. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. For myself, Nadesify, let's ship it.